The most recent coaching carousel showed that schools are now heavily investing into big-time recruiters for head coaches to mitigate the risk of them leaving to the NFL. Do you consider other schools more of a danger of poaching big school coaches or the NFL? From Melbourne, Australia there. So here's the insinuation. The insinuation is a lot of schools are hiring major recruiters as head coaches because they know the NFL won't want to come take them. And I don't know if the correlation and causation are the same here. I don't know if that's been the motivation even between needing to fill your role as head coach and then who you're hiring. So Marcus Freeman got the job at Notre Dame. Very good recruiter. I don't know that Notre Dame looked around and said, let's give it to Marcus because the NFL will never come for him because he's a recruiter. Like, I don't think that's the thinking. I don't think USC looked at Lincoln Riley and said, I think we want Riley because he can recruit and therefore the NFL will never want him. I think maybe you may happen to be a good recruiter. It's probably one of the prerequisites to get those jobs, but you can be a really, really good football mind and a good recruiter too. In fact, some of the best programs in America are led by a combination of both in the same mind. So I don't know that that's the case, but I think I've always viewed the biggest threat to your head coach leaving as being another college program. Because I think over the course of history, we've seen far more coaches leave college jobs to go to other college jobs than we have leaving college jobs to go to the NFL. I mean, you can virtually count on one hand how many high-profile coaches have left college to go to the NFL and you've watched it work out. Conversely, in college, it works out all the time. And we just saw multiple examples of it this past cycle. Who in the world expected Brian Kelly to leave Notre Dame to go to LSU? Anyone who ever talked about him leaving talked about, I wonder if the Giants want Brian Kelly. I wonder if the Chargers will look at Brian Kelly. No, it was LSU that ended up taking him. For that matter, I wonder if the Cowboys will take Lincoln Riley. No, it was USC that came and took Lincoln Riley. So I don't know that that's what they're prioritizing, or if they are, I don't know that that's the reason they're prioritizing it. What I think programs are knowing that they have to prioritize is a good recruiter, or at the very least a guy who can put together a dynamite recruiting staff, but he's got to understand marketing for the future of NIL. He's got to be a very, very good manager of an organization because of so many different aspects that are now part of a college football organization. But he's got to be a good navigator too. He's got to be a good leader, I guess is another word for that, because there's so many added things on your plate that didn't even exist 5 years ago in the sport, much less 50 years ago. So yeah, if you're a good recruiter and you feel more college, yeah, maybe that precludes a lot of NFL eyeballs from casting their gaze towards you. Is that the reason you hired that guy? I don't know if that's necessarily always correlating the way it may seem. Just so happens to be that way sometimes.